because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Article 1, Section 5 of the United States Constitution says that you can expel a member of Congress. This lady is treasonous and a traitor. She does not care about our own people here in the United States. She's only out to get Donald Trump. This lady is crazy. I literally have to pray and breathe and take deep breaths before I listen to anything coming out of Jasmine Crockett's mouth. It is incredibly frustrating. And the fact that she would side with Claudia Sheinbaum and Justin Trudeau over our own president says a lot about who she is. Let's get back into the video. This is going to be crazy.
The one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is. And they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised.
He likes the idea of giving some of the savings from DOGE back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID. That was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government, though.
I'm not going to say that there's a lot. I'm going to say that it does exist. I'm going to say that it exists. I don't think that there's a lot. I think.
So why are we so in debt then?
We're in debt because we decide that we're going to reduce the income, right? So under Trump in his first administration, we went into debt $8 trillion. Now, he wanted to say it was because of COVID. It really wasn't. Obviously, there was money that we sent out because people were in need during COVID to make sure that we didn't go into a recession. But at the end of the day, it was because he said, oh, wait a minute, that income, we're going to stop bringing that in from the top 1%ers. Well, those Trump tax cuts, they expire right about now. And he's trying to reinstitute them. So here it is. You've got Elon Musk running around talking about something. I'm cutting this. I'm slashing this. I'm doing this and that and da-da-da, all this kind of stuff, right? I do want to be clear that at the same time they're saying, but we got to raise the debt limit. Well, why do you have to raise the debt limit if we are saving all this money? You know why? Because they actually want to deepen the tax cuts for all those billionaires that were sitting on stage with him on January 20th. Those guys are looking to keep more money in their pocket. That is why. It's why we ran into debt last time. It's why we're going to run into debt again. The only time
Jasmine Crockett is on the losing side in this. If she wants to argue with Trump about different things, rebate checks are not the thing to argue with Trump about. So this woman actually went on TV talking about how she is against Donald Trump potentially giving $5,000 rebate checks to every American family. She even went on to say, what is $5,000 going to do for you? I don't know what $5,000 is supposed to do for you. And then she went on to say that we're not in the business of giving out money. So you mean to tell me that the American taxpayer dollar can be sent to countries and organizations and people all over the world without our consent? But when it comes to Americans actually receiving a small fraction of those taxpayer dollars back in the forms of a $5,000 rebate check, your response is, we're not in the business of giving out money. People in your district elected you to serve their interests. You're not in the business of giving money back to them and helping put money back in their pocket. But you are in the business of funding migrants staying in luxury hotels in New York City. You are in the business of making sure that our tax dollars go to different countries all over the world so we can fund transgender sex change operations. You're okay with that. But when asked about a rebate check, a small rebate check of $5,000, you say, we're not in the business of handing out money.
This lady is full of it. The reason we are in debt is not because of what Trump did. Obviously, we did gain some debt from COVID. I mean, this entire pandemic, it was an unbelievable amount of money that was spent, but they just tried to sweep it under the rug like that didn't happen, when obviously that is what spiked the increase in debt. Now, for her to say that Trump is only out to help his billionaire friends that are on stage, there's only 756 billionaires in the United States. So even if we did tax those people more, there's so many different loopholes and benefits for people that own businesses to write off. It wouldn't really make a difference anyway. That is not the key. The key is not taxing more people. It is to reduce the United States spending. And for her to say, oh, it's not really that bad. It's not that bad. We're not really in debt because of that. It's all Trump's fault. No, lady. We have been going in debt for a long time, 30, 40, 50 years. It just has been getting worse and worse and worse because people have not been auditing the government. But Jasmine Crockett will go out here and make it seem like it's all Trump's fault, which is just absurd. And for her to say that we don't deserve $5,000, what will we do with it? I can guarantee 100 million Americans could desperately use an extra $5,000. Are you kidding me? You have the nerve to say, what are we even going to do with $5,000? I think them giant eyelashes is too big, and they might be messing with your brain a little bit, Miss Crockett. Either that or those baby hairs that you have slid on the side of your face like you're 16 years old. Grow up, man, and come with facts, not nonsense. This lady needs to get expelled from Congress for coming up there and taking sides with Justin Trudeau and Claudia Sheinbaum and then saying we don't deserve our money, blaming everything on Trump. This lady, whether you're Democrat or Republican, you should want to support the president, and you should want the decisions that they make to be for the good for all of us. But so many of these people are just so spiteful and so full of hatred. It's just all coming to the light, and it really starting to show that these people don't care about us. Jasmine Crockett is worth $9 million. So yeah, $5,000 may not affect her that much, but it will for the majority of Americans. Now, I want to know from you guys, do you think we could use $5,000? Could you use $5,000 from the government? Or do you agree with Miss Jasmine Felicia Crockett?